Hello folks! So today we speak about the first eclipse of the year, and the eclipse axis continues in Aries and Libra, so we can expect some life shifts to impact the areas where Aries and where Libra fall in your chart. So let's talk about the solar eclipse in April. All right, so we have a solar eclipse taking place in Aries on April the 20th at approximately 5 a.m. UTC in the nakshatra of Ashwini at approximately 5 degrees. Rahu will cause this eclipse. It'll be close by at approximately 5 degrees away in Ashwini. Now, with the new moon cycles, especially with solar eclipses, it's usually a good time to reflect, to go inward, to introspect. Being the eclipse is in Aries, we need to see where its ruling planet, Mars, has gone. And at this time, Mars is in Gemini. Now, with the new moon cycles, because the moon is the darkest at this time, especially with solar eclipses, it's usually a good time to reflect, to go inward, to introspect. But here, being that the eclipse is in Aries, it might be very difficult to do that because you might feel very restless. Being that it is in Aries, we need to see the situation of its ruling planet Mars at this time. And at this time, Mars is in Gemini, Mercury's sign, and Mercury is in Aries, Mars' sign. So here we have a Parivartan yoga happening with Mars and Mercury in exchange. Now, the dark side of Mars-Mercury associations is that they can create angry moods, slow, deliberate thinking, strong achievement, strong ambitions, aggressive confrontations and arguments. There can also be some self-centeredness and ruthlessness around achieving your goals. Heated arguments can result now. So be especially watchful around your neighborhood, your immediate environment, perhaps even your siblings. Double check emails before hitting that send button. So we are talking about Mars in Gemini. Be watchful for gossip, spreading lies. This can cause problems now. Mars in Gemini is especially difficult energy in this regard. See where Aries and Gemini fall from your ascendant to understand its impact on you, the impact of the Parivartan yoga happening, right, between the exchange of Mars and Mercury. Parivartan yoga is happening between the 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 9th, and 11th houses can be beneficial. And if they are between the 3, 6, 8, 12 houses, they can be challenging. Okay, because here the fire element is strong anyway, right? We have an exalted sun in Aries. So this can compound issues with like disagreements, especially with people that you have day-to-day dealings with. If we want to understand what to expect here, we also need to see the strength and position of Ketu, as Ketu is a controlling planet of Ashwini. Mars in Gemini and Ketu in Libra in trine, both sitting in Rahu's nakshatra, can mean some frustrations with dealing with others at this time. Saturn's aspect can exaggerate this further. Now, Jupiter at this time, where are the helpers we have to see? Where is Jupiter? Where is Venus? Jupiter being in Gandant, in Pisces, is actually just about to enter Aries. So we know that something is coming to an end. And this can be connected to our day-to-day living, right? We're at a crossroads. We're about to end something and start something fresh. It's that moment where the ending is meeting the beginning, but we're not quite able to push through to the beginning just yet, right? Because Jupiter at this time is at the very, very end of Pisces, and the day after the eclipse, it moves into Aries. With Aries so predominant now, there's a need to be in control. There's a powerful drive to establish your core purpose now. You may experience some challenges and blocks due to authority figures stopping you from moving forward at this time. This is a pivotal process of rebirth taking place now. The uncomfortable feeling of being stuck, but also needing to let go and walk the uncertain path ahead. Jupiter's Gandant position supports this. Some could go through very intense emotional catharsis that brings some really deep-rooted issues to the surface. And if you are going through some, maybe some therapy, some healing, this is an excellent time. It's a good time to face these issues through modalities like therapy, through modalities like spiritual practices and healing practices and things like that. Going inward, all of that is supported right now. Especially like the day or two before the eclipse and 1 or 2 days after the eclipse, those kind of core days there, 3 or 4 days, yeah. Moon in proximity to Rahu could also cause you to be very sensitive to your environment now. Your emotions can run high at this time with strong reactions as well. See where the air trine falls in your chart to see where this could play out, as we have an exact trine right now between Saturn and Ketu. Jupiter here is trying to sort of help us push through the past. Right? Leave it behind, let it go, just push through it. Whereas Venus's position is quite supportive. It can act as a stabilizing force. It's sitting in Taurus right now, which is a fixed energy. This is especially good for the fixed signs. Though at the eclipse moment, you could be feeling hopeless, especially with Saturn's close aspect. With Saturn's aspect on Aries, it could mean that you experience some delays with your plans. If you're starting something new, wait till a few days before you make any announcements, because by the end of April, Jupiter will come out of its Gandant zone completely. What is Gandant anyway? If we take that word, Gand is what? Gand is not. Anta is ending. So Gandanta is a point where the energy of a planet can get stuck, a knot where it is hard for the planet to express its energy in a natural way. Earthquakes, accidents, political squabbles, violent acts, and other disruptive events are more likely during Gandant point, when planets go through Gandant points. This is especially the case if it's a malefic like Saturn and Rahu. Whereas with Jupiter, you could have some kind of like an epiphany, some kind of a realization, because we're talking about Pisces and then, Aries. Planets at the end of water have a knot around emotional attachments. And there's a resistance to let go and change because we want things to stay the same. In fact, we think that we put like an idealistic vision around the current status quo with planets at the end of water, especially if it's Venus, but certainly Jupiter. Even if that ideal state is long past, you tend to kind of hang on to it in your mind. Even if in reality it's past, it's become toxic, right? So that's something to think about. Planets in Gandant at the end of water can be stuck in a past emotional outlook, basically, and have difficulty releasing attachments and the emotions that go with the attachments. Of course, this eclipse directly impacts Aries and Libra, but also those who have personal planets close to the eclipse degree. So as usual, if you have a planet in Ashwini, in Swati, then that area of your life can be activated right now. A new opening may want to get unleashed there. This eclipse falls into the second pada of Ashwini, which is the Taurus Navamsha. So whatever comes up, you'll have the resources to deal with it. Family can be supportive at this moment. There's a saying that it is darkest before dawn. Ashwinis represent the dawn. They come to the rescue when you're getting over your toughest periods, when it dawns, when an illness heals, for instance. This fits, right? Because Jupiter's current position in Gandant Pisces too, at the time of the eclipse. This Jupiter placement can bring you a miracle now, if you're a believer. Certainly it will strengthen your faith. It will test your faith, perhaps first, and then strengthen it. So it may be a time when you experience a turning point of sorts. Ashwini symbolize timely aid and the satisfaction and joy when you finally get your prayers answered. Whereas Bharani symbolizes death, Ashwini symbolizes beginnings, fresh starts. As usual, see if you have planets falling there in Ashwini. If it's Venus, then this eclipse will impact relationships in some way. If you have Moon, it impacts your domestic situation. Sun there can impact your life path or your image. Favorable activities supported by Ashwini include buying and selling, learning new skills, starting new projects, wearing new clothes and jewelry, planting seeds, laying foundations, housewarming, travel, shopping, health and fitness, getting engaged. Ashwini's deity is, of course, the Ashwin Kumars, the divine healers that bring miracle cures. If you needed a fresh start, or if you needed some healing or repairing, you can find that help comes your way at this eclipse. If you wanted to seek advice from experts, do so before Jupiter enters Ashwini the day after the eclipse. See where Aries falls from your moon in Lagna. It's here you can experience a miracle and new life chapter opening up for you. Now, I've made remedy videos on each planet, and certainly for the eclipses, the best remedial measures is to strengthen the moon. It's something that I've talked about before, but I'll mention it again. Yeah. The best thing you can do around eclipse times is keep your schedule light, whether it's a solar eclipse, whether it's a lunar eclipse. So like maybe 1 week before and 1 week after, try to keep things light. Drinking lots of water is excellent. Doing pranayama and meditation, fantastic. Spending more time at home with family. Normally at eclipse times, it's very difficult to plan. Right? So you can take a passive approach, which I think is ideal, and keep your schedule light, or you can surrender, right? Surrender to what is coming your way. Because you know that there's going to be some kind of a shift, especially if you're in Rahu Ketu Dasha or Antardasha. You will feel the intensity more. And even to some extent, if you're in a moon Dasha. With new moon eclipses, it's better to kind of slow down, right? It's a dark moon, favors introspection. All eclipses, of course, have the power to bring revelations, but especially when the moon is the darkest, as it will be now. With Jupiter entering Aries the next day, it's a sure signal for a new chapter about to open up in your life, if you're ready. Yeah. So that's all for now, folks. If you like the video, don't forget to hit subscribe, like, and share button. Thank you, folks. All the best.